Hey guys, I have been hearing about a certain topic in the news lately, and I wanted to make another video about it. It is the actress Leisha Hailey. She plays Alice on the L Word. I'm not sure actually what else she's been in, but she got kicked off of a Sun Country flight for kissing her girlfriend. Now this is the exact story. It says that she was kissing her girlfriend, and that's why she got kicked off. Now, the media in my area, I live in Wisconsin, and so the media, the news media, the radio, entertainment, and anything that comes from around here is always really closed-minded. And I saw that firsthand when this story came into the news. I first heard it on a station called KDWB. I'll link to them below. It's a show called The Dave Ryan in the Morning Show. And I've listened to them quite a few times and can honestly say that they have made me kind of drop IQ every time that I listen to their station. They are closed-minded, bigoted, fascist, racist, homophobic. They're everything that a conservative white asshole prick is. And so Dave Ryan, who is the main guy of this show, first announced the story. And he said just that Leisha Hailey's got kicked off of a Sun Country flight, and so she is now going to take retaliation and going to take action against them. And after that, my girlfriend and I were both like, yeah, she should. Yes, absolutely. What a bunch of assholes. However, from there, Dave Ryan goes on to say the following. He says, here's what I think happened. I think that she was sitting on the airplane. First of all, it totally just assumes that they're having complete PDA and not just kissing. Dave Ryan assumes that they are groping, that they are fooling around, doing everything but just kissing or being a normal couple. And I'm not really sure where he got that idea or why he believes that. Actually, I kind of know, so we'll get to that later on. So Dave Ryan says, here's what I think. I think that they were making out and getting really gropey, and so multiple people complained, and then one stewardess decided that she would take Leisha Hailey out of the plane, and at that point they told her that she's no longer welcome back on the plane. My girlfriend and I are like, what the fuck? The story doesn't say anywhere that they were doing anything but kissing. And the fact that they don't realize that somewhere can kick you out just for kissing a girl is really, really ignorant, and it really pissed me off, because not only did he say that, but then his co-stars, Lena, that's her name, his co-star Lena then goes on to say the same thing, and then their co-star Steve-O goes on to say that he agrees that they were groping, and that's why they got kicked off the plane. And so then I followed the story a little bit more, and I've watched it on a few different sites, news coverage, and when I see it from places like California and things like that, they all say just Leisha Hailey got kicked off of a Sun Country plane, and what assholes must they be? Now she's going to take action. However, every time I hear it up here, it's different. I heard it again just a little bit ago on a station called WCCO from Minneapolis. And it was somebody from WCCO radio talking to one of the news anchors on WCCO TV. And both of them were saying, when someone's having public displays of affection, when they're making out and groping, what do you do about it? And then the news anchor said some stupid thing like, take a picture. And it was just the most insulting thing in the entire world. Because for people to assume that this is what happened when they weren't even there, they don't know what they did, they don't know if it was extreme or if it was just a kiss or a couple of kisses. But the fact that they don't know what happened, yet they assume that it's totally impossible for somebody to be kind of discriminated against for being a homosexual. Well, it happens. It's still legal in many states to fire somebody for being a homosexual. Say you're working at a job and they find out that you're homosexual. It doesn't matter how good you are at it. In certain states, they can fire you for it. And that's law. That's not just my opinion. It's not made up. That's the law. They still have that written for certain states. Not only that, but it gets worse. There are some states that are allowed to refuse us service if they know that we're homosexuals. And In Wisconsin, the state that I live in, they're trying to do basically everything they can to prevent us from being gay. So not only is it illegal to get married here, but I can't go to another state and get married and come back. Otherwise, they'll put me in jail or fine me $10,000. And so for all of these media people to assume that it was her fault, that it was Leisha Hailey's fault, is really ridiculous and really fascist, I guess it would be, and homophobic. Because no, you don't know what happens when we just do the simplest of gestures. When I was in high school, I was in marching band, and there were long bus rides that we would take a lot of the time to different shows that we had, and I distinctly remember that some of the kids would be groping and being disgusting and just being teenagers and being raging hormones all over each other. And in particular, one of the band mom's sons was doing this, and he was just a few seats in front of me. Well, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I leaned over and kissed her. Just a peck. Like, she was leaning against me, and I just pecked her. And all of a sudden, like lightning, the one band mom whose son is a few seats in front of me, literally groping his girlfriend, comes dashing to the back of the bus and proceeds to tell us that we can't sit next to each other anymore. And so you have to realize that people just have different standards, and you can't assume that it got to this point that they were being overly sexual for her to get kicked off, because there are plenty of companies and businesses and organizations and places where you can get kicked out of it just for being homosexual. She could have very well gone on that plane and they knew right away that she was a lesbian, and from there they were just waiting for something to kick her off. You can't just assume that she is at fault when she very well is the victim here. I mean, when have you ever heard of a straight couple getting kicked off of a Sun Country flight? And I know for a fact that there is more than one couple that has kissed, made out, or even groped on a plane. I know, I've seen people do shit like that on planes all the time. So I guess next time you hear a story like that, make sure that you look at it from both points of view, because you don't necessarily know that it was Leisha's fault, but you also don't know that it was Sun Country's fault. You don't really know anything because you weren't there. So don't fucking assume that because she's a lesbian that she had to have been groping, because the society is not welcoming to us yet, and we don't need too much to get kicked out of places or banned from places or discriminated against. So yeah, if you've read about the Leisha Hailey thing, don't judge her and assume that she's the one that caused this problem, because a lot of times society and the negative outlook on homosexuality is the cause of these sorts of things. So think about that. Thanks, bye.